Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome back, Paulie Howard, Scott Seidenberg, our weekly guest now, Chuck Edel, the Iceman, kicking ass and taking names. Years ago, he had a 20-1 run in college football totals, and then he won the contest last year, the Circa Friday Football Invitational. Again, kicking ass and taking names. Get out of his way. Chuck Edel joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line, going over some NFL preseason. I got to lean on. He leans Hawaii. That's it. Just leans Hawaii for college football. So that's all he has. So we'll go hardcore with the NFL. We have a game tonight. Chuck, Minnesota opened the favorite. No McCarthy. Titans up to 3.5 for the game. You want Titans first half. What do you have?
Yeah, and really just a small edge here. Minnesota's playing nobody. Tennessee, Cam Ward, he's only thrown 15 passes, the whole preseason. So they're going to play their starters 1 to 2 series. So I did lay 2.5 this morning on the first half line. The line has gone up. Nothing crazy good because, again, a lot of these games you're seeing these guys play 1 or 2 series and you're seeing these lines kind of get overinflated a lot. But the first half there, I did lay the 2.5. Tennessee, they're trying to get some more work here, so he's ready for the season, and I did lay the 2.5.
Chuck, would you take the same approach tomorrow? You have the Cleveland Browns against the Rams, and the information's coming out that Joe Flacco starters might play some extended run here for Cleveland. We've seen this line go from 2.5. It's at 8.5 right now here at Circa with Cleveland laying that big number. Is that an approach you would take if the number got away from you? Would you be looking to isolate the first half?
Yeah, sometimes, in this particular game, you have a couple situations. The first half, obviously, looks good because, the Cleveland, not only are they playing their starters 20 to 25 plays in the game, which is, right up there with most anybody's played so far this year. They've been game planning for this. It's a real dress rehearsal like we would see maybe in week 3 of prior preseason. So the first half obviously looks very strong. Well, I think it's going to open up a high number. We see the line 8.5. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see the first half, 7.5. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping to, if I could get it 7 or less. But for the game itself, after Flacco, you're going to have, Gabriel, you're going to have Sanders. Both guys play well in the preseason. I think you're going to see big efforts out of them as well. And listen, it's a perfect storm, right? The Rams play nobody. McVay does not play anybody in the preseason. Mm-hmm. So you got a perfect storm, and I think this is it. 8.5 now, the line's a little bit up there. I was lucky enough to grab 5, did not get the opening number, but I laid 5 here. But yeah, to answer your question, absolutely. I'll be looking to do something if the number's right for the first half.
I'm glad you mentioned that, too. I'm glad we finally have a game like this. You had a great line during the break. This isn't a candy store anymore. This has been a weird year where we haven't had the good information, the knockout information, or the one team saying, the coach saying, I'm game planning, I'm playing these guys a half, and then the other guys that just lay down.
This is the first game I even heard a coach say he's game planning for, as he said in his press conference. But, part of the reason is, and we talked about this before, not only the 3 games, but all these, practices, all these joint practices they're having before the game, and they're getting a lot of work in there as well. And, I've heard some people say, a lot of starters have been playing in the preseason this year. Well, that might be true, but they're only playing 1 series, maybe 2 series. And, it doesn't, I'd rather see, the past we've seen them play a quarter, maybe the whole first half in week 3. So we haven't had a lot of those scenarios. Last week we talked about Cincinnati Bengals. Luckily enough that we got that game in, but a similar situation where they did play their starters, especially Burrow, for longer than people expected.
Okay.
Seen a couple of moves on totals as well, Chuck. We have Denver, New Orleans opened up 35.5, got as high as 40. It's settled back down now, 39.5, 39. What are you playing here in this game in regards to the total?
Yeah, this is a situation where I actually, once it got up to 40, I actually did play it under. The Saints they have a quarterback situation going on there, but let's face it, they're in trouble. Their quarterback room does not look too good. If they're going to start Rattler, they got absolutely no shot. I mean, you're going to see them, and then Denver's going to play their starters maybe 8 to 10 plays. So you'll see Knicks, so they're capable of scoring on the drive there. But the Denver's very deep on defense. In fact, their secondary, I read, where they're saying this maybe the biggest, most depth of any team in the NFL in their secondary. And with the Saints quarterbacks, even though they're playing their starters for maybe 2 or 3 series, I thought 40 was an awful high total here in a game like that.
All right, how about another side? This is Saturday night. Turns out to be the get-out game with Hawaii playing at 4:30. You're a part of the move here. Arizona opened the favorite. The Raiders are now laying 2. Why do you like the Raiders?
Yeah, and not really anything big. It's one of those situations where Arizona came out. They're not playing any of their starters, and the Raiders. Carroll has said what he said the last 2 weeks. The starters are live for this game. So that can mean they play a series. They could play 2 series. We don't know exactly how much, but it was enough to have a little advantage. They're taking the game a little more serious than Arizona. Arizona's sitting everybody. And again, this is one of those games that I will look to play possibly the first half on. There's a little bit of an edge with the Raiders playing their starters.
Okay. Chuck, I know we always want to be obviously ahead of the line moves. Originating is obviously beneficial, but we've seen so much steam move here in the NFL preseason. Have you found it advantageous to play against the steam sometimes? I mean, we saw the steam go against the Giants last night. That didn't work out. We saw the steam go against the Steelers last night. That didn't work out either. We might have lost Chuck Edel there, the Iceman. I'm so curious about that to see how, pros take a look at the steam moves on these games. Because as we talked about, I laid a bad number with the Giants last night. I thought I was, SOL because I laid -6. It closed at -4.5. And I'm thinking, what does everybody know that I don't know?
That was strange, the whole thing.
And
that was weird because I knew so the Giants weren't playing anybody, but still it's a deep quarterback rotation. Yeah. But then word got out that someone had the information early that it was going to be Woolridge the whole game. And he stinks, but again, then why? Yeah,
you saw the steam go against them, and it went against the Steelers, and they wind up covering Everett. Chuck Edel is back with us here on the Progressive Guest Line, where it's Follow the Money here. Scott Seidenberg alongside Paulie Howard. Chuck, I was wondering, when you look at the steam moves, do you find it advantageous sometimes here in the preseason to play against the steam? Because we've seen some of these moves actually be in the wrong direction.
Absolutely, and this is really the first, maybe the first year I've seen it steam so crazy. I mean. Yeah. You're seeing games go from 2 to 7 just because they're playing their starters, maybe 1 or 2 series. So yes, I have been able to take advantage of that. Absolutely. When these games get up so high, I mean, basically it's a coin flip after the starters sit down. And the Denver under is a little bit of a situation like that. I waited for it to go up to 40 before I played it under, but there has been a lot of situations where the dogs have been advantageous to play after the games have steamed up. And sometimes these games have been steaming up just because people are trying to predict who's going to play. I mean, a lot of the games it hasn't happened this week, but the first 2 weeks of this preseason, they were betting the games on Monday without the information. So that was definitely advantageous to take advantage.
You like to take a wait and see approach to college football, or do you come out fire? How many week 1 college football bets do you have?
Yeah, I do like to.
Damn.
We've got the service issue.
All right.
Find out who that cell provider is, right?
Beat.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Come on.
Well, it beats yesterday when we had the band in the background. I can't believe Samich asked the band's going full bore, and then Samich tries to squeeze in another question. Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I got to tell you. Oh, man, it was crazy. But he made several good points there. It's like they're going crazy on Mondays. Yeah. And it's okay, so what if a guy's going to play a series? So what? And it's still you're seeing 4 or 5 point moves.
We saw, what was it, for the first Raider game, when it was announced that Geno Smith was going to play, that line steamed up several points. He plays 1 series.
They're live. That's
hands
the Carroll.
Ball off a couple of times.
Well, they're live. Yeah, that was the Carroll comment. They're live. Yeah.
I didn't understand that, but I do think some of these moves might be getting out of hand. Like I mentioned, again, getting the bad number there with the Giants didn't matter last night. I actually think that there might be an opportunity to take advantage on some of these big moves here, especially maybe not the ones that really jump out. Like that Cleveland Rams game, I'm not going to go against that. I'm not going to go against Cleveland.
Finally,
here.
he's right, though. Finally, we have one of these type of games, though,
exactly.
but it's rare.
But
this used to happen all the time back in the day. And then the big move last night, you were lucky to get there with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They covered, but that's, I mean.
But San Francisco, this flipped. San Francisco opened up -3. Chargers now -2. If that thing gets the Chargers -3, I might take a shot at the 49ers plus the 3.
Yeah.
Because these steam moves aren't stopping.
Yeah, and the totals dropped 2.5 points, too, in that game.
Fade the steam. 0-2 last night. I mean, the steam went 0-2 last night. You were 2-0 fading the steam. Both teams, the line went against the Steelers. Well, I mean, the early stuff was obviously in favor, but then the late money went against both of those winners last night.
So I thought the game was picked tonight. Went to Kansas City 3 and then Chicago 2. Chicago's 2 now.
Yep.
Because Reed came out and said, I'm playing the starters, but then Ben Johnson made his comments, and then we'll only see Mahomes for a little bit.
Yeah, one series probably.
So
But he played 49 seconds in the other game.
Yeah.
And that line steamed also because it was like, hey, Mahomes is going to play. 49 seconds. That's how long he played.
All right, this is going to be bizarre up next. It's going to be like we're looking at each other. We're going out to Circa, Kentucky, live with Brett McMurphy. We're going to be looking at the same background. It'll be incredible. Hardcore college football. SEC goes to 9 games in conference. Who makes the playoff? Is Arch the real deal? ACC going to join the SEC with 9 league games? Mr. McMurphy up next on VSiN. Follow the money, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great to be back. Great to have football back. And America's college football insider joins us live from also Circa in Kentucky. Brett McMurphy from On3 Sports joins us. And this is going to be weird to look at. And we're going to talk college football as well. We'll call it the progressive guest line.
Look at that book.
Look at that. That's unbelievable.
Look at that book. It's
unbelievable.
It's like looking into a better looking mirror. Look at that thing.
That's awesome, Mike. Great to talk to you, my man. Good to see you. How about the big news that the SEC is going to 9 league games next year?
Yeah, that's huge, Paulie, because now I think the SEC, well, more likely the Big Ten now can kind of back off of this automatic qualifier nonsense that they have been putting out there the past few weeks, few months, and come to an agreement on how they want to do it in 2026. So I think the 16-team playoff, the likelihood we have that has increased tremendously with the SEC going 9 games. And you know what? A lot of people rip the SEC. Indiana's Kurt Signetti's at the front of that line. I think what impressed me the most is the SEC announcing that not only are they going to play that 9th conference game, they're going to require every school to play a 10th power opponent in the non-conference. So, they'll still play an FCS team. Everyone will make fun of them. But they're taking the lead on this. They're requiring all their members to play 10 power conference schools. No other league does that. Let's see if the Big Ten follows suit, the Big 12 and or the ACC.
Okay, and also this could decide a playoff spot. This could decide a lot. How's the conference going to identify the 3 annual opponents?
Yeah, Paulie, they actually have 2 consulting analytic firms that basically have dove into the numbers of the past historic rivalries, how good teams have been in different phases going back a certain number of years, and they're trying to make it as balanced as possible. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, they're not going to get rid of Alabama, Auburn. They're not going to get rid of Texas, Oklahoma. So there's probably about half a dozen, maybe a dozen games that are automatic that are going to happen. But how they fill out with the other 3 permanent rivals, they're going to do the best they can to make it as equal as they can. But as you know, it's not going to be equal. Every fan base is going to have a gripe. Some are going to have it harder than others. Alabama could have, their 3 could be Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. It'd be hard-pressed to play 3 harder ones than those. Mm-hmm. Arkansas could be Texas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. I mean, that's a tough threesome right there. But they'll do it. But the good news is, for the SEC fans, you'll get to see every team in the conference come through your stadium at least once every 4 years. And you'll see a lot of teams play each other now, where in the past, I think Georgia and A&M have only played, I think, once, if I'm not mistaken, since A&M joined the conference. And that's been, a long, long time. So that'll correct a lot of those odd issues with the schedule.
I'm glad you brought up some protected games, Brett, because one of the things that concerns me the most about all this conference realignment and the ever-changing landscape that is college football is that we're losing these historic rivalry matchups. I mean, Farmageddon is going to be in Iowa, is going to be in Ireland here tomorrow, and this rivalry's been going on forever, and in a couple of years from now, we're not going to have this game. So that's my biggest concern, is that with all of this realignment, we're going to lose out on these traditional rivalries.
Yeah, there are obviously a lot of negatives for conference expansion, but once you get to 16, once you get to 17 with the ACC, once you get to 18, you simply can't play everybody. And, that's the good news with the SEC, with the 16 teams going to a ninth game. They will be able to rotate everybody in every 2 years. And then every 4 years, at least you'll get to see a specific team come onto your campus. So that's the good news. The bad news is, for some of these other conferences that are bigger, that's not going to happen. And then you get into comparing, who's got the better resume. And, a lot of times it depends on the draw you got. Did you get an easy conference draw, or did you get, the schedule from death that Florida seems to get every year? 7 preseason top 25 teams on their schedule. Oklahoma also 7 preseason top 25 teams on their schedule. And then you've got other teams. Clemson has 1. So hopefully this will equal the schedules a little bit more, so it will be easier, a little bit easier, not much easier, but a little bit easier to kind of compare these teams if they're playing more comparable schedules and comparable opponents.
Mr. College Football Insider Brett McMurphy, our guest, live from Circa in Kentucky. Are you buying the Arch Manning hype?
No. Am I buying a Heisman ticket of Arch? No. I mean, I'm buying the hype. He's going to be very good.
Okay.
The problem is, Paulie, he's been built up so much he can't live up to it.
Well said.
Like Paul Feinbaum said he's the best quarterback since Tim Tebow. I mean, I'm waiting for Feinbaum to go on and say that Arch is going to win 4 Heisman trophies. He said everything but that.
Yeah.
Bring back Bino Cook, rest in peace. I mean, give me a break. And the issue with that, it's not fair. I think the kid will be very good. But again, I think like anything else, when you are picked and put on top of something, what happens? Everybody tries to tear you down. Everybody tries to knock you down. I'll say this. I see him there at 650 to win the Heisman. If they win at Ohio State, I guarantee you that'll drop to 3-1.
Yes.
I guarantee it. But here's a little stat for you.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money on that. It's been 11 years since the preseason Heisman Trophy favorite has actually won the Heisman Trophy, and that was Marcus Mariota at Oregon in 2014. So I don't think Arch is going to win the Heisman. Not that he deserves it. I just feel like he won't be able to live up to that. And I also don't think Texas will win the national championship. 19 of the last 21 years, the preseason AP #1 team has failed to win the national championship. Well, congrats, Texas. You get your first #1 preseason ranking in school history. Now you got to try to, upend history by becoming only the 3rd team in the last 22 years to win it from the #1 ranking at the outset.
Right, one of the teams that I'm extremely high on this year is Clemson. And we saw a little bit of a disparity between the coaches poll and the AP poll, where the AP has them 4th. Coaches had them a little bit lower than that. We know about the returning production. We know about the quarterback. We certainly know about the coordinator changes here. What's the ceiling for this Clemson team, and what's the floor? Is this a, lock to be a playoff team? And what do you like about their chances here to win a national championship?
Yeah, I agree with you. They're projected to be favored in all 12 games. And I think more importantly, there's last year there was 15 teams that had win totals of 9 or higher. That now this year has dropped to 9. Part of that is because the schedules are more difficult, a lot more made for TV games. Well, of the 9 teams that are projected to win more than 9 games, obviously Clemson's one of those. Clemson is the only team of the 9 that does not play another team within the 9. So like Ohio State and Oregon are in there, but they play each other. Ohio State and Penn State are in there. They play each other. Clemson didn't play anybody in that top echelon. They will play only one ranked team currently right now, and that's South Carolina. And so, yeah, I do. Whatever the number is for them to win the ACC, absolutely, I would take that. I mean, the number's probably gotten out of hand on making the playoff. But no, I agree with you. I think Clemson can win it. They have the quarterback in Klubnik. They've got a lot of depth there. It's funny, Dabo has walked back a little bit from the no transfer portal. He's added some transfers in there. I think they really have a solid team. This is obviously their best chance to win it since Trevor Lawrence was there. And ironically, they've got a very good quarterback in the mold of a Trevor Lawrence. And also, which more important, a lot of times, they have the schedule too.
Yep. Clemson plus 105 to win the ACC, minus 200 to make the college football playoff. That
should be minus 2,000.
Oh, wow. At a 0. What do you think of Miami?
At a 0. You know what? We know they lost Cam Ward. I think they're actually going to be better, and here's why. The offense, obviously, they're not going to be as good offensively. No way. Miami, little trivia, the only team last year that outgained every one of their opponents, yet they didn't win every game. So I guess there's other factors. I think, Paulie, the defense is going to be vastly improved. I think you're going to see more improvement defensively. With Carson Beck at quarterback, I think they kind of tweaked the offense a little bit. Mario Cristobal loves his offensive lineman. He loves power football. I think they'll do more of that. Be more of a game control type team than last year when they just went up and down the field. I would call them a Swiss cheese defense, but I don't want to insult Swiss cheese out there.
Yeah.
But I actually think I think Miami can get to the playoff. I still think, Paulie, they're a little bit still a step below Clemson.
Everything looks great there. Good to see you. Appreciate you coming on. It's here tomorrow. We'll catch up soon. Thank you, Mr. College Football Insider. Saganah's on me when you come to town at Circa.
Yeah, it was funny. I'd hear it at Circuit at Kentucky, and everybody kept calling me Paulie, and I was looking around. I didn't know what they were talking about.
Thank you, sir. You're the best. Brett McMurphy.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Follow him on X, on 3 Sports. Brett McMurphy. At a 0 to Clemson. My God.
I love it.
He went 3-1 last week. Nigel Seeley with some soccer plays, and we'll revisit the discussion that Scott made earlier about be careful here if you didn't play your quarterback in the preseason next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Great to catch up with Brett McMurphy. Also, powerhouse hour here. Phenomenal. Before him, the Iceman, Chuck Edel. I know Chuck cut out, but just to be clear, Chuck's on the Titans first half. The Raiders, Denver Saints under, and he laid 5 with the Browns, but wants to take first half as well with the Browns. It's up to 8.5, but Cleveland game planning, Rams don't care, and big movement on the Browns in that one. The picks earlier from Chuck Edel. It's our old friend Nigel Seeley, went 3-1 last week at Seeley_Nigel on X, because we win pod. And we start off with the Premier League, and let's go with an under with Sunderland and Burnley. Take it away, Nigel.
It's match day 2 in the English Premier League, and match day 1 saw unusual what happens at the first of the season. Hardly many favourites getting beat. Only one favourite actually got beat. It was a good week if you bet under 2.5 goals, and my first bet of the Premier League on match day 2 is under 2 goals, not under 2.5 goals, under 2 goals in the match between Burnley and Sunderland. Burnley started off with a 3-0 defeat against Tottenham. Sunderland started off with a fantastic 3-0 win against a very poor West Ham side. I think Sunderland are going to be very good at home. I think they're on the road. I think they're not going to be that great. And I think this is a match where I think we'll see both of these sides level themselves out to the level they should be. If you look at recent history between this match, the 0-0 detector will be bleeping galore. The last time they met last season was a 0-0 draw, Burnley 0, Sunderland 0. They played in 2023, Burnley 0, Sunderland 0. 2016-2017 season, Burnley and Sunderland 0-0, 0-0 before, and 0-0 1-0 before that. In fact, 5 of the last 11 matches between these sides has seen the match end in a 0-0 draw. And in 8 of the last 11, under 2.5 goals has cashed. Now, under 2.5 goals is a rather low price with the books. So I'm going to play it a bit more risque. I'm going to go for under 2 on the Asian handicap at even money. So if there's exactly 2 goals, we get our money back. But I think Burnley and Sunderland will be doing battle at the bottom of the table, and I think this will be a cagey match. So my first official play on the weekend is under 2.5 goals in that match between Burnley and Sunderland. My second bet is on the Saturday evening match between Arsenal and Leeds. Arsenal won last week 1-0 against Manchester United, but they were far from convincing. They didn't play very well at all. Manchester United should have won that match, and they'll feel very hard and aggrieved that they didn't get anything from it. Arsenal are lucky. I think they're going to be too strong for Leeds, particularly at home. Leeds had a good 1-0 win to mark their return to the Premier League against Everton, but that was at home at a rocking Ellen Road. Away from home, I think Leeds, again, pretty much like Sunderland, I believe they'll struggle. Arsenal have a brilliant defence. Saliba, fantastic central defence alongside him, Gabriel. Goalkeeper Raya, probably the best goalkeeper currently in the Premier League. And they've just boosted their team and their squad and their title hopes for the Premier League by signing Eze from Crystal Palace. He won't play in this match, I don't believe, but I do think whatever Arsenal do have in attacking options will be good enough to beat this Leeds side. Gokeres is still waiting to see if he can score his first goal. He was dominant against bottom half sides in Portugal last season for Sporting Lisbon, and I believe that Leeds will be a bottom half side. Arsenal have too much for them in this match. I'm going to go for Arsenal to win it. You're not going to get rich. They're about -$3, but I think Arsenal will win to 0. So Arsenal will win and they will not concede. And that was a very, very profitable play last season, and I think it will be the same again. So Arsenal to win to 0 against Leeds, even money. Next match, another unders match, is the match between Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Eze has gone for Crystal Palace, which takes a huge threat from them in attacking formation. They played a 0-0 draw against Chelsea in the first game of the season. They were very unlucky not to win that game. Defensively, they're exceptionally strong. And Nottingham Forest started off the season with a 3-1 win on the opening day against Brentford. There's no love lost between these two clubs. Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace are involved with a battle against UEFA. Forest wanted Palace kicked out of the Europa League. They've taken their place in the European Conference. They were supposed to be playing tonight on Thursday. Crystal Palace are instead. So the two owners are loggerheads. There's no love lost. But on the pitch, in recent history, very, very close affairs between these two. Since Nottingham Forest returned to the Premier League, every one of their matches against Crystal Palace has cashed under 2.5 goals. 6 in total, all cashing, with 4 of those draws. In the last 8 matches between the two, 6 of those have been draws, and that is where I'm sort of looking towards this one. I think this could be another draw. I think both sides will be very happy with a draw, but again, I'm playing on the unders. Under 2.5 is -142, a little bit low for me, but under 2 goals with a push on the Asian is boosted up to +125. I'm going to go for that as well. So I've got 3 bets on the Premier League, anti-goals in a lot of them. I'm going to go under 2 goals in that Palace v Forest match, under 2 goals on the Asian as well in the Burnley v Sunderland match, and I'm going to take Arsenal to win to 0 against Leeds. Another bet that I like, which almost made the frame, was Manchester United to beat Fulham. Manchester United look really good to me. The signings of Kuna and Boma give that sort, and Sesko give that team a massive, massive attacking threat. They've got a brilliant record against Fulham. They've won their last 8 matches against Fulham. They always beat them. Fulham didn't play at all well in a 1-1 draw against Brighton on the opening day. And I think if you can take the +115 now, Manchester United, you want to do that, because I don't believe there'll be that price come kick-off on Sunday. I think there'll be minus money. So that's an extra bet. 4 bets for you. I haven't looked at the lower leagues yet, but 4 bets in the Premier League. Good luck with your bets. And I'll be back next week with my best bets for match day 3.
Great job, Nigel. VSiN contributor at Seeley_Nigel on X. And check him out for the lower leagues as well if he tweets those out tomorrow morning. 3-1 last week.
Love it.
Preseason wraps up here tomorrow. Do you think some teams might regret not playing their starting quarterbacks once you look at what could happen?
Yeah, I looked at some data here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really fascinating stuff. So the preseason changed 4 years ago. 2021, the NFL schedule went to a 17-game schedule, and the preseason went to a 3-week preseason instead of a 4-week preseason. So naturally, that changed the way that coaches prepare for the regular season. It used to be the standard. Starters play, a series maybe, or they don't play in the first game. Second game, they play a little bit longer. That third game's the dress rehearsal. Starters would play the whole first half, maybe into the third quarter, right? And then no one plays in the fourth preseason game. Well, that completely changed in 2021. And as we've progressed to now, 2025, we have still seen more changes here. So I went and I looked back at the week 1 quarterbacks over the last 4 seasons. There have been 128 week 1 quarterbacks in the last 4 seasons, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, obviously. Okay. Of those quarterbacks, 39 of them did not attempt a single drop back in the preseason. So the quarterbacks did not take a single drop back in those respective preseasons. On average, those 39 quarterbacks in their week 1 games failed to cover the spread by 2.55 points. They went under their team totals by 3.2 points. The full games went under by 4 points per game. Their first half ATS margin was almost -2. Their first half team totals went under by 1.76 points. The first halves went under by 1.6 points. Now, we know week 1 is traditionally an under week, right? Since 2021, in that same time span with the 3-week preseason, week 1 unders are hitting at a 62% clip, 39-24 to the under in week 1 of the NFL season. But I think that this data shows us that we want to play unders on the quarterbacks that did not have a single drop back here in the preseason. And those quarterbacks are Michael Penix of Atlanta, Lamar Jackson of Baltimore, Josh Allen, Buffalo, Joe Flacco. But Joe Flacco is actually going to play here in this preseason, so we can cross him off that list. But he hasn't played yet. This will be his first preseason action. Dak hasn't played. Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, and Baker Mayfield. Now, we have a couple of these games where quarterbacks are playing each other, and one in particular that, I'm looking at that first game. Let's look at Dallas against the Eagles. Yep. I'd be looking at a first half under in that game. We have 2 quarterbacks that haven't played in the preseason. It's going to start slow. Same thing with Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Both those quarterbacks haven't played in the preseason, and I don't know why Penix hasn't played because
I agree.
He needs the reps.
Yep.
But to me, I'd be looking at the unders and maybe more specifically the first half unders or team total unders for the quarterbacks that have had 0 dropbacks here in the preseason. Again, these numbers are staggering, Paulie. These quarterbacks in week number 1 are going under their team total by almost 3.5 points. So if you have a team total out there for, let's say, the Cowboys, 17.5 or whatever it is, take the under. These numbers are obviously going to populate as we get closer to week number 1. Like right now, we only have some of the derivatives on that first game on Thursday and Friday as well. But once we get the derivative markets here for the rest of week number 1, I'm going to be all over these unders, first halves, team totals, and the like for all these quarterbacks.
Excellent. Good stuff. We're thrilled to share the First Bet Travers Wager Guide presented by VSiN. Picks and analysis from Samich and Tooley. Insights from the First Bet team with decades of experience covering horse racing. The Travers Wager Guide, toolkit for every horse player to tackle one of the biggest days in the racing calendar. It's free. Go to first.com/guide and get ready for a thrilling and profitable Travers Stakes. First.com/guide. Get it now. What we're betting up next and some futures as well that Scott likes coming up on Follow the Money.
On coke if his girlfriend was not.
These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's unborn children on these games.
I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
All right, Angel Reese does it again. Flies over her points. 21 points in the win, 15-point dogs against the Liberty. She's gone over 11 of the last 12 or 12 of the last 13. It's too low, and they play tomorrow against Connecticut. They don't have a number right now up, but get ready. tomorrow afternoon for the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese over points. Keeps going over points and going under rebounds. Tomorrow to start the day, Ravens money line against the Commanders. It's a straight fade of Dan Quinn, who's on a 2-16 straight up run in the preseason. We like the Jets coming up tonight. Mentioned that earlier. The Aaron Glenn stuff. He was pissed at how they played last week against the Giants. More ways to bet against the Saints. Fewest points in a season, plus 250, in addition to fewest wins. Dodgers first 5 tonight. I don't want any part of that bullpen. Snell against Darvish. They swept them last week. This was the matchup last week as well. San Diego right-handed pitchers against the Dodgers, 1-6 with an ERA of almost 5. Against the rest of the league, 36-14 with an ERA of 2.74. It's in their heads. Dodgers 8-2 against them this year. Eagles, week 1, 6.5 against the Cowboys. We played that clip earlier with Jerry Jones on the YouTube channel of Michael Irvin. To me, the deal's already done. To set it off to the agent tells me to stick it up my rear end. I moved off my mark. He thinks the deal's done and they have an agreement. Parsons says go pound sand. That's also against the CBA, by the way. They talk to a player, negotiate without the agent in the room. This is not good. It's not a pretty sight. I don't think Parsons plays. I ran through the numbers earlier with Parsons on and off the field. And let's dig deep. There's more good news here. We moved the number yesterday, by the way, on Ollie Gordon.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love that.
I got the write-up.
Oh, an Offensive Rookie of the Year market?
Offensive Rookie of the Year market. Every day, someone's getting hurt with the Dolphins. It was Wright, Achan's banged up. So, damn, I can't find it now. But anyways, it was today's Palm Beach newspaper, whatever it's called, the Palm Beach Post. Mm-hmm. This guy, Samich made the case fantasy related, and he's right. You got to grab this guy. This guy could be the starting running back for the Miami Dolphins sooner rather than later. They love him. He's getting a ton of reps. He's had 21 touches in the preseason. He was 2,000 to 1. We gave him out yesterday. Now he's 1,000 to 1. Ollie Gordon, 1,000 to 1 Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nothing but great news coming out of Dolphins camp with this guy to coincide with the injuries. Okay.
100 for 10K? Ollie Gordon action?
Yeah, big.
All right.
Big.
Let's take a look at the baseball plays that I have tonight. We mentioned, well, first off, the Jets. We're both on the Jets. The Aaron Glenn motivation. He's coaching to win this game. Obviously bothered by their performance on Saturday against the Giants. Held a secret practice. Yep. Players-led practice on Sunday. No media invited. No assistant coaches. Just Aaron Glenn and his players. He wants his players to take accountability, and I think it shows tonight here against the Philadelphia Eagles. Major League Baseball, I'm going to be on the over in the Yankees-Red Sox game. I think you're getting a discount here because it's Max Fried on the mound, but Max Fried has been terrible lately. Yep. 4 or more runs allowed in 7 of his last 8 starts. I mean, that's not the Max Fried that we saw at the beginning of the season that was a Cy Young candidate. This is a different Max Fried right now. I'm going to take advantage of that, plus the Yankees' 8th worst bullpen ERA in all of Major League Baseball right now. So I'm going to go over 8.5 between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Plus, you never know. Like the Yankees, it was a 3-1 game going to the 9th against the Rays, and it still goes over 8.5 because their bullpen stinks. So you're never out of it when it comes to a Yankees over. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays in the first 5 innings. Shane Bieber making his first professional appearance.
How about it?
Since the Tommy John surgery. He pitched 2 games last year early for the Guardians before going down with the injury. He makes his debut tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I'm going with Shane Bieber and the Blue Jays in the first 5 innings. Listen to these numbers in the rehab starts for Shane Bieber. How good has he been? 29 innings pitched, 37 strikeouts, 3 walks, and a 1.86 ERA. His most recent rehab outing, 7 scoreless innings, AAA Buffalo, 7 scoreless, 4 strikeouts, 90 pitches. Here's the best part. His 4-seam velo in the rehab starts, 92.5 miles per hour on average. That's up over 1 mile per hour from his last full season on average. So he is looking strong here in his rehab. So good to see him back on a major league mound. Arizona Diamondbacks, I'm backing them in the first 5 innings. I'm backing them multiple ways in the first 5 innings. I'm taking them on the first 5 money line. I'm also going with their team total over 2.5 runs in the first 5 innings because this is a fade of Zach Littell. whose underlying metrics suggest that he is a big-time regression candidate. The FIP is higher. The expected ERA is over a run higher. His left-on-base percentage, second highest in all of Major League Baseball, despite the fact that he's not a high strikeout guy. So he is getting fortunate. I think that luck runs out and the Diamondbacks get to him tonight, but I don't trust the Diamondbacks bullpen, so I'm not going to bet them in the full game. I'm just going to go with the first 5 innings. Other plays that I got locked in for tonight, the Murphy, that's right, the no-run first inning between the Guardians and the Rangers. Slade Ciccone this year, 13-3 on the Murphy. Nathan Eovaldi, 18-3 on the Murphy. Give me no run scored in that first inning. And how about a football future? Awards market. There's a clip right now. If you go to Twitter, you go to the VSiN Twitter account at VSiN Live, you'll see a video from last night with the SGP guys were in with me in studio on VSiN Primetime, and I reiterated a bet that I've given out multiple times here on VSiN, and that is Nick Bosa of the 49ers to be the Defensive Player of the Year at 15-1. He's currently 11-1 to be the sacks leader in the NFL this season. I think those go hand in hand, but my research that I did shows that the 49ers play the second most favorable schedule of opponents' offensive tackles.
Deep cut.
That's right. I ranked the offensive tackles in the NFL, making a composite score of their PFF grade from last year and their ESPN's pass block win rate. I then took that, looked at the teams, their teammates, and then compared it to every team's schedule in the NFL. New Orleans has the most favorable schedule, but I'm not betting on any pass rusher for the Saints because everybody's going to be running the ball against that team because they're going to be beating them. But the 49ers, second easiest schedule of opponents' offensive tackles. Nick Bosa, 15-1, Defensive Player of the Year.
Damn right. Excellent. And good job not getting distracted by my phone.
What phone?
CBS.
See?
I'm trying to read the article, and then the pop-up ads keep coming at me, and then the volume goes on. Jesus. CBS sucks. Terrible. G-Bank, built with sports bettors in mind. Right now, you can earn a $50 cashback reward bonus once you're approved and your account's open with the G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. Most cards treat sports books and gaming transactions as cash advances, even when it's your own money. G-Bank treats them as regular purchases. No cash advance fees, saving you up to 3 to 5% on every deposit. Plus, you'll earn 1% cash back on all eligible sports books and gaming transactions. 2% cash back on everything else you buy. Apply now. VSiN.com/GBank. VSiN.com/GBank. Do it now. We're underway in Philly. See if Trey Turner can get a hit right off the bat. And we're getting ready to kick off with some of these preseason games as well. I can't believe how packed it is, not just right now, but how it's been the whole day here at Circa and the sports book with everyone signing up for the contest. We're at 21 Grandissimo. David Baker signed up before the show. Are we over 8,000 now? Over 8,000. I mean, they did 1,000 yesterday, over 1,000. So with Radio Row here and all these radio stations, and the seminar is tomorrow. Chuck Edel's a part of that. Tune into that. Mike Palm's hosting. Mike Pritchard, Drew Dinsink, Whale Capper, Chuck Edel's part of that as well. That's tomorrow, so it's a fun weekend here at Circa, and it's just wall-to-wall action here with these proxies nonstop with people signing up with the contest.
And it's going to be amazing. I mean, I'll be here all weekend with the Saturday and Sunday shows, and the action's just getting started because everyone's going to be excited about the preseason. Tomorrow, real college football games that matter. The standings count tomorrow.
Yes.
These games are for real. Week 0 is upon us.
Yeah. And how about the way to do it? Like, not only a game with ranked opponents, ranked conference opponents going at it.
I'm going to go first quarter under 10.5, but live total over. Once we get that in-game total dropping below 50 or whatever, I'm going live total over.
Are you surprised they both flew out Wednesday?
No, because I think nowadays teams are trying to make everything seem as normal as possible. They don't want to go the week early and have to deal with the pomp and circumstance and everything like that.
Yeah. Okay. Great job. That was fun.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. That was good job, Scott. Mitch back next week. Great job to the crew. Awesome job with the guests. Great with Brett McMurphy, Nigel Seeley, Chuck Edel, Ben Stevens. Alec was good as well. Bussy, the kid from Iowa, doesn't get the press. Bush Light either. Bush Latte. What do they call it? Bush Latte.
Bush Latte, yeah.
Bush Latte.
Bush Lattes.
All right. Excellent job. Have a good weekend. Cash some tickets. We're back Monday to break it all down on a full weekend.